So I have quite a bit of like savings right now, or money from the last business I had. I like sold all my cars, and I have enough money to where I could live. Like I'm living in Latin America, my rent's cheap, only 500 a month. I could live for like another year here easily, possibly more, without working at all. But I actually feel a bit more anxious having all this money than if I had like spent all my money on like assets or trying to build a new business and almost had like no money. It's kind of weird, but like especially when I first moved here, I was like, I have all this money, like I was saying, I could easily live for a year without working at all. But I was still anxious about money, about like, I'm like, oh, I gotta make more money. It's because like I have these savings, but I do not want to spend my savings on living. What I want to do is spend that money on either buying assets that make me income or on building my own assets that make me income. And I want to do that as fast as possible, because the faster I do that, that means I'm not eating through my savings. Like the more that I spend my savings, that means the less money that I have to spend on assets, which sucks. So right now what I'm actually doing is I'm looking to buy a blog website for around, I want to buy one for around like 20K or between 15 and 25 grand. And the reason I want to do that is because I was thinking about it. It's like I have this money sitting there that's doing nothing, and I'm just going to end up wasting it, spending it on savings. But I can spend it on a blog site for around that price. A blog for around that price, I can buy one that's bringing in like $500, $600 in revenue every single month. And that is way better than just having that money in the banks. I mean, I've been learning how to do this stuff with blog sites. I've been doing it for about a year. I bought a expensive course on how to learn it. You can watch through some of my older videos. I talk about it more, and I had a talk with one of my coaches recently, because I'm still pretty new to this. So I was telling him about my situation, being like, hey, would it be stupid of me to spend the money on this site since I'm kind of new to this? Or, should I spend the money on building up new sites from scratch? And he was saying, like, you should buy one, because first of all, when you buy a site, like I have bought a site for $4,000, and then I built a site from scratch already. And he was telling me, once you buy the sites that are more expensive like that, they're like good sites. They've been around for a few years. If you buy a good one, they're like, they're generating income. He was saying like you'd really have to fuck something up for the income to just like go down to nothing when you buy it. So it's like it should keep producing that income. And it's like, so basically these websites in general will sell for about 3 times the yearly profit. So that means that like I'll have income coming in, and then after about 3 years or whatever, even if I don't increase the profit at all, I will have paid the site off completely. And then it'll just be 100% profit. And then I could even sell the site for like the same amount of money I paid for it or more. And I'm like way more comfortable. Like I want to spend a bunch of my savings on this sort of new business asset, and I'm way more comfortable doing that and having much less money in the bank than I am just having this money in the bank. Like, so when I was my last business was basically a rental car business. It was using Turo, and when I was first starting that up, I was like completely broke. Like I spent all my money on the first car, and then all the money that I got. Que lo que? Que lo que? Que lo que? I knew that was gonna happen. So when I spent like all the money I had, all my savings on my first car. And then as I got more money, I just started spending it all on more cars. And by the way, I started, like right after I started this rental car thing, the lockdown happened. So I was doing this when the rental car market was like garbage. Like I had no idea what was gonna happen. But I was like, I didn't know what else to do. So I just started buying up more cars. I was using like my credit card towards this to like, I would buy a car, I had to buy it with cash. I was buying cheap ones off Craigslist, but then I was using my credit card to purchase, the registration or like stuff to fix up the car and things like that. Like, I'm telling you, I was broke as hell. I was just putting in all my money into doing this. And then because of the coronavirus thing, the lockdown, I was able to put my student loan payments on hold. So that was like a big help. I did that for like 3 months. I could put more money into that business, I had less expenses. I think once I got into like the second, I can't remember if it was the second or the third or fourth car I got, but I actually got a loan from my uncle as well for just $6,000, and which was enough to buy another car before the car prices went up. And I got the loan from him because first of all, there'd be no interest, and I knew that I could take as long as I want to pay back with that loan, and he would never care. It actually took forever. I think I paid him $3,000 back within like a year, and then took like 3 years or possibly more to give him the other $3,000 even. But I knew that he wouldn't care, which is the reason I got the loan from him, was non-risk. Even if I didn't pay him back, honestly, he probably wouldn't have cared, but I wanted to pay him back. But my point is like, it's kind of like if you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's what he talks about in the chapter about paying yourself first. This is what he's trying to get at in that book, is like, you want to be spending your money on building up assets or on buying assets. And for me, like when I was completely broke and taking these risks and buying up these cars and using credit and stuff like that, I felt like comfortable doing that. Almost, I don't know, maybe almost more comfortable than I am now with all my savings and everything and buying everything like that. Just because now it's like I have something to lose, whereas like before I had nothing to lose, to be honest. Like, and I don't know, this is kind of one of the ways you can think. Hopefully this will kind of help you guys think a bit more like an entrepreneur, understand about how people think when they get into this. Like, if you have not read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad and you're interested in that, definitely read that book, because the chapter where he talks about paying yourself first, this is what he's talking about, what I'm getting into now in this video.